Be me. 38, HR director at insurance company in Austin, Texas. Salary $128,000 plus quarterly bonuses. Been working in human resources for 13 years total. Company is called Lone Star Insurance Group. We do commercial and personal insurance across Texas. Regional firm, about 450 employees spread across 5 offices, headquarters here in Austin. We underwrite policies, process claims, manage risk assessment, typical insurance operations. My department is corporate HR, team of 12 people handling all HR functions for the company. Recruitment, compensation, benefits administration, employee relations, compliance, training. Report directly to Chief Operating Officer. Sit on executive leadership team. Been with Lone Star for 5 years. Started as HR manager. Promoted to director 18 months ago. Office culture, when I arrived, was very traditional, buttoned-up corporate insurance environment. Lots of long-time employees, many here for 15 to 20 years, resistant to change. Leadership team was mostly older men, classic good old boys network in Texas insurance. Women in company were concentrated in administrative roles, claims processing, customer service. Underwriting and sales roles, the revenue-generating positions, were predominantly male. Executive leadership was 7 men, 2 women, pretty typical for insurance industry. While I got promoted to director, I knew I had opportunity to transform culture, create more inclusive environment, challenge traditional power dynamics, make women feel more valued, more heard, more central to company operations. First 6 months as director, I focused on policy changes, updated harassment policies, implemented diversity training, started tracking demographics in promotion decisions. These were standard initiatives. Nobody objected much. All seemed reasonable. But I wanted to do something more visible, more symbolic of cultural shift, something that would physically demonstrate commitment to centering women's voices. Been reading a lot about how meeting dynamics perpetuate gender hierarchies, how men dominate conversation, interrupt women, take up physical and verbal space, how seating arrangements can reinforce power structures in subtle ways. Started thinking about our executive team meetings held every Monday morning. 12 people attend. COO, CFO, me, 5 department heads, 3 senior managers. Always held in same conference room. Large table with 12 chairs. People generally sat in same spots each week in formal assigned seating. Senior executives at head of table, others around sides, traditional hierarchy. Meetings often ran 2 hours, discussing strategy, reviewing metrics, making decisions. I noticed that men, especially senior men, dominated the conversation. COO would call on male department heads first. Their input seemed to carry more weight. When women spoke, they were interrupted more frequently, ideas sometimes dismissed. Classic meeting dynamics that research shows happens everywhere. Month 8, as director, I proposed change to executive team meeting structure. I want to try something different to make our meetings more inclusive. COO asks, "What do you have in mind?" I propose that in executive meetings, women sit and men stand. Complete silence in the room, everyone staring at me. CFO, man named Richard Torres, 54, finally speaks. "I'm sorry, you want men to stand through entire meetings?" "Yes, as a symbolic gesture to center women's voices and contributions. Meetings run 2 hours. You want men standing for 2 hours. It's temporary discomfort that creates space for women to be more present." Director of Claims, woman named Patricia Moore, 48, looks uncomfortable. "I appreciate the intention, but this seems extreme. Extreme situations require dramatic interventions to shift dynamics." Director of Underwriting, man named Stephen Walsh, 51, pushes back. "This is performative and frankly insulting. We should focus on actual inclusion. Physical space matters. This is actual inclusion, making it visible." COO is clearly uncomfortable but doesn't want to oppose diversity initiative. "Let's try for 1 month, see how it affects meeting dynamics." I'm pleased. got approval despite the skepticism. Next Monday, executive team meeting, I remind everyone of new format. Remember, women will be seated, men will stand during today's meeting. The 7 men exchange glances, clearly unhappy, but they stand. 5 women, including me, take seats around the table. It's immediately awkward. The visual is stark. Men standing around the perimeter. Richard, the CFO, tries to participate from standing position near the wall. He's holding notepad, trying to reference documents, clearly uncomfortable. Stephen from underwriting is shifting his weight, visibly annoyed. COO leads meeting from standing position at head of table, looks ridiculous. Meeting runs 90 minutes. Men are clearly uncomfortable by the end. One guy, director of IT, named Marcus Johnson, 46, has back problems, visibly struggling. After meeting, Richard approaches me privately. This is humiliating and unprofessional, treating people differently based on gender. It's temporary measure to highlight power imbalances by creating different power imbalance in the opposite direction. If you're uncomfortable, that's the point. Discomfort drives change. He walks away frustrated. I document his resistance to inclusion efforts. Week 2, executive meeting, same format. Men stand, women sit. This time the men come prepared. Some bring documents printed out. Marcus brings cushion mat to stand on for his back. I tell him to remove it. The point is to experience discomfort. Accommodations defeat the purpose. I have chronic back pain. Standing for 2 hours causes real physical issues. We can discuss accommodations after the pilot period ends. He's clearly in pain by end of meeting, limping as he leaves. Patricia, the claims director, speaks to me after. This is getting cruel. Marcus is genuinely suffering. Change requires sacrifice. Everyone needs to participate. But we're causing physical harm to make symbolic point. Symbols matter. They shape culture. This is important work. She doesn't push further, but I can see her disapproval. Week 3, Stephen from underwriting is openly hostile in the meeting. He's standing against the wall, barely participating, arms crossed. When COO asks for his input on underwriting strategy, he's curt. Hard to think strategically when I'm standing like I'm being punished. No one's being punished. We're creating inclusive environment. By literally putting men in subordinate physical position, this is insane. COO intervenes. Stephen, let's stay professional and focused on agenda. But the tension is obvious. The men are resentful. Meetings are becoming hostile. After that meeting, 3 male executives request private conversation with COO. They express concerns about the standing policy, call it discriminatory. COO brings their concerns to me. The men are really struggling with this format. That's the point. They need to experience what it's like to be marginalized. But we're creating hostile work environment in the opposite direction. We agreed to 1-month trial. We're 3 weeks in. Let's complete it. He reluctantly agrees, but I can tell he's not fully supportive anymore. Week 4, final week of trial period, things escalate. Marcus, the IT director with back issues, doesn't show up to meeting. I email him during meeting. Your absence from executive meeting is noted. He responds, my doctor advised against standing for extended periods, medical issue. We can discuss accommodations if you provide medical documentation. I shouldn't need doctor's note to sit in a meeting. This policy is discriminatory. After meeting, COO tells me Marcus has filed complaint with corporate HR. Wait, I am corporate HR. He filed complaint about me with me. Actually, he filed with employment attorney, considering legal action. Claims the standing policy violates ADA, creates hostile work environment. Also claims gender discrimination, treating employees differently based on sex. This is serious. Legal complaint from senior director. COO is concerned now. We need to end this policy before it becomes bigger issue. We're 1 week from completing the trial. We should finish. Marcus has legitimate medical condition. Forcing him to stand could be ADA violation. I told him he could provide medical documentation for accommodation. The accommodation should be allowing him to sit like a normal meeting. I'm frustrated. The men are using medical excuses to avoid uncomfortable change. Or they have legitimate medical issues that our policy is exacerbating. I agree to suspend the policy while we review legal concerns. Send email to executive team. Standing policy is temporarily suspended pending review. Month 2, I decide to expand the initiative beyond just executive meetings. If standing policy is too controversial, I'll implement it in my own HR department. I have full authority over my team, don't need approval from COO. HR team is 12 people. 8 women including me, for men. Men are Tom Bradley, 41, HR manager reporting to me, handles employee relations. Jake Morrison, 33, benefits administrator, manages health insurance and 401k. Carlos Mendez, 29, recruiter, handles hiring for all departments. And Daniel Kim, 27, HR coordinator, does compliance and administrative work. These are my direct reports. I can set meeting policies for my team. Department meetings are weekly, typically 1 hour, discussing ongoing projects. I announced new policy in Monday staff meeting. Going forward, our department meetings will have women seated, men standing. This is part of our commitment to modeling inclusive practices. Tom, my HR manager, speaks up immediately. I thought executive team decided this policy was problematic. Executive team suspended it. I'm implementing it in my own department. This seems like gender discrimination, treating people differently based on sex. It's equity practice, creating space for women's voices to be centered. Jake, the benefits administrator, adds, for a 1-hour meeting, is this really necessary? If it's not necessary for 1 hour, why would it be necessary for 2 hours? I'm getting pushback from my own team. This is disappointing. This is not up for debate. This is the policy going forward. The 4 men exchange looks, clearly unhappy, but they stand. First HR department meeting under new policy goes poorly. The men are visibly resentful, participating minimally. Tom, who normally leads several agenda items, is terse and disengaged. Women on the team are uncomfortable too. The dynamic feels forced. After meeting, my assistant, woman named Jennifer Park, 36, speaks to me. The standing policy is making everyone uncomfortable, including the women. It takes time to adjust to new practices, but it's creating tension that's affecting our team cohesion. Team cohesion is less important than modeling inclusive practices. Week 2, the resentment grows. Tom requests one-on-one meeting. I need to discuss the standing policy. It's affecting my ability to work effectively. How is standing in meetings affecting your work? It's disrespectful and demoralizing, being treated differently based on my gender. You're experiencing what women have experienced for decades in workplace. No, I'm experiencing discrimination. There's no historical justification for treating me this way. I'm not going to debate this. The policy stands. He leaves frustrated. I note his resistance in his performance file. Week 3, Jake and Carlos both submit HR complaints. Not to me. They go directly to COO, my boss, claiming gender discrimination. Their complaints are detailed, documenting the standing policy, citing Title VII, claiming disparate treatment based on sex. Also noting that policy was already suspended at executive level, but I continued implementing in my own department. COO calls me in for meeting. He's serious, more serious than I've seen. I need you to end the standing policy immediately in your department. I have authority to set policies for my own team, not policies that violate employment law and create discrimination complaints. I'm creating an inclusive environment. You're creating legal liability and hostile work environment. He orders me to end the policy. I reluctantly comply. Send email to department. Standing policy is suspended effective immediately. But damage is done. The 4 men in my department are now actively hostile. Month 3, things deteriorate rapidly in HR department. Tom, Jake, Carlos, and Daniel are doing minimum required work. They participate in meetings but offer no extra effort. no initiative. Tom used to mentor junior staff. Now he just does his assigned tasks. Carlos used to proactively source candidates. Now he just posts jobs and waits. The department morale is terrible. Women feel caught in the middle. Jennifer tells me privately, the men have checked out. They're just going through motions. They're resentful about the standing policy. They'll get over it. I don't think they will. Tom is interviewing for jobs at other companies. How do you know that? He told me. Said he can't work in an environment where he's discriminated against. This concerns me. Tom is crucial to department operations. He handles all complex employee relations cases, knows all the institutional knowledge. Week later, Tom submits resignation, 2 weeks notice. I've accepted a position at another company. My last day will be June 15th. I'm shocked, didn't think he'd actually leave. I try to convince him to stay. Tom, you're a valuable member of this team. A team where I was forced to stand in meetings because of my gender. That policy has been suspended after it created hostile enough environment that multiple people complained. I apologize for the disruption. You didn't apologize. You suspended the policy because you were ordered to. You still believe it was right thing to do. You'd implement it again if you could. He's right. I do still think it was right approach. I can't work for someone who sees me as problem because of my gender. He leaves. His resignation is effective. 2 weeks later, he's gone. Recruiting for HR manager position is difficult. It's specialized role. Meanwhile, department is struggling without Tom's expertise. Complex employee relations cases are piling up. I have to handle them myself. Taking time away from strategic initiatives and leadership responsibilities. Month 4, Jake Morrison, benefits administrator, also resigns. I've accepted position at competitor. We'll finish out the month. Jake, we need you. Benefits administration is critical function. You should have thought about that before implementing discriminatory policies. The policy was suspended. You're holding a grudge. It's not grudge. It's principle. I won't work where I'm treated differently based on gender. He leaves too. Now I've lost 2 of 4 male HR staff members. Department is down to 10 people, 8 women and 2 men. Carlos and Daniel, the remaining 2 men, are clearly looking for other jobs too. I see Carlos taking calls during lunch, obviously phone interviews. Daniel updated his LinkedIn profile. Clear signal he's job searching. Month 5, Carlos Mendez, recruiter, submits resignation. I'm leaving for recruiting position at tech company. 2 weeks notice. Now 3 of 4 men have resigned. Department is being gutted. Jennifer approaches me with concern. We're losing all our male staff members. We'll hire replacements, recruit people who are committed to inclusive practices. The problem isn't their commitment to inclusion, it's the standing policy. We're paying the price for policy that you implemented against everyone's advice. She's right, but I don't want to admit it. COO calls me in again. 3 resignations from your department in 2 months. What's going on in HR? Why are we losing people? The men who resigned were resistant to inclusive culture initiatives, or they were treated discriminatorily and left because of it. I was trying to create equity. You created exodus. We're now short-staffed in critical HR functions. He's monitoring situation closely. I'm under scrutiny. Month 6, Daniel Kim, last remaining male HR staff member, also resigns. I'm leaving for HR coordinator role at nonprofit. Last day will be July 31st. All 4 men who were in my department have now resigned within 4 months. Department is down to 8 people. All women. Were severely understaffed. Try to recruit replacements, but word has spread in Austin HR community. 4 men resigned from Lone Star HR department in 4 months. Hostile environment. Recruiters asked me about it during calls. Can you explain the turnover pattern? We had some policy disagreements. They chose to pursue other opportunities. I heard there was discriminatory policy about standing in meetings. News has spread. People in HR circles talk. Austin is big city, but small community. Getting very few male applicants for open positions. They're avoiding our department. The applications we get are mostly from junior women, early career professionals. Not the experience level we need to replace Tom, Jake, and Carlos. Month 7, department is struggling badly with workload. Benefits enrollment is disaster. Jake had all the vendor relationships. Employee relations cases are handled poorly. Tom's expertise is sorely missed. Recruiting is behind on all open positions across company. Carlos was efficient. Compliance reporting is late. Daniel used to manage all the deadlines. Other departments are complaining about HR service quality. Director of Sales emails COO, copying me. HR isn't filling our open positions. We've had sales rep position open for 3 months. Still no qualified candidates. Director of Operations complains. HR isn't responding to employee complaints. We have harassment allegation that's been sitting for 5 weeks without investigation. Director of Claims says benefits administration is failing. 3 employees enrolled in wrong health plans. Jake would have caught these errors. COO receives multiple complaints about HR department performance. He calls me in for serious conversation. Your department is failing. We're getting complaints from every division. We're understaffed. I'm working to fill the open positions. You've been recruiting for 4 months. Why haven't you filled them? The labor market is tight. Finding experienced HR professionals is challenging. Or male HR professionals don't want to work in your department. That's probably true, but I don't admit it. The 4 men who left, what reason did they give for leaving? Various reasons: career advancement, better opportunities. They all cited the standing policy in their exit interviews. Said they felt discriminated against, couldn't work in that environment. He has the exit interview documentation. All 4 men said the same thing. This is pattern of discrimination that has destroyed your department's functionality. I was implementing inclusive practices. You were implementing discriminatory practices that drove away qualified employees. Month 8, COO makes decision. I'm called to meeting with him and head of legal. Legal counsel is woman named Sarah Mitchell, 52. She's reviewed everything. We've analyzed the situation in your department over past 8 months. The standing policy, the subsequent resignations, the performance decline. This creates significant legal liability for the company. She shows me documentation, the 4 resignation letters. All 4 men cited discriminatory treatment as reason for leaving. All 4 mentioned standing policies specifically documented in exit interviews. Jake and Carlos filed formal complaints before resigning. Those are on record. Marcus from executive team consulted employment attorney. Letter is in file. You implemented policy that treated employees differently based on gender. After being told to suspend it at executive level, you continued it in your department. This resulted in 4 resignations, all citing discrimination. Any one of these former employees could file EEOC complaint or lawsuit. The evidence is documented in their exit interviews and formal complaints. COO is direct. We're terminating your employment effective immediately. For implementing discriminatory policies that created hostile work environment. I was trying to create inclusive culture. You created discrimination, lost 4 qualified employees, destroyed department functionality. The intent doesn't matter. The impact is what matters. And the impact has been devastating. Walkout that afternoon, 5 years with company ended. Severance is minimal, 2 weeks pay. They're not feeling generous. 1 month after termination, I'm 39, unemployed, searching for HR director roles. But news is spread quickly in Austin HR community. Everyone knows what happened. HR director at Lone Star implemented policy making men stand in meetings. Lost entire male staff due to discrimination complaints. Terminated after department performance collapsed. This is what recruiters see, what hiring managers hear. Can't get interviews at any professional companies. Reputation is toxic. The standing policy is seen as bizarre and discriminatory. What were you thinking is the question I get when people even return my calls. 3 months unemployed, burning through savings on rent in expensive Austin. Finally get offer, HR generalist at small manufacturing company, $52,000. From $128,000 director to $52,000 generalist. Massive career collapse. From leading department of 12 to being individual contributor. 6 months after termination, I'm 40, making $52,000 doing entry-level HR work. Processing new hire paperwork, conducting orientation, basic administrative tasks. Lone Star Insurance has hired new HR director, man named Robert Thompson. He's experienced director from another insurance company, conventional approach. His first priority is rebuilding the department, filling the 4 open positions. Post jobs for HR manager, benefits administrator, recruiter, coordinator. Within 2 months, he fills all 4 positions, 3 men and 1 woman. Word spreads that Lone Star HR is under new leadership, has fair policies. Male HR professionals are willing to apply again. Department stabilizes. Performance improves immediately. Backlog clears. Service quality returns. Other departments stop complaining, satisfied with responsiveness. 1 year after my termination, see article in HR industry publication. Lone Star Insurance rebuilds HR department after leadership change. Article doesn't name me, but everyone knows the context. Previous leadership implemented controversial policies that led to staff exodus. New director focused on professional standards and equitable treatment. Quotes from Robert Thompson about his approach. HR should model fair treatment for all employees regardless of gender. Policies that treat people differently based on demographics create problems, not solutions. We've rebuilt a strong team by focusing on capability and professionalism. Comments on the article are brutal, people sharing what they've heard. I know someone who worked there, said director made men stand in meetings. Virtue, signaling gone wrong, destroyed her own department. 2 years after termination, I'm 41, still making $54,000 as HR generalist. Will never be HR director again. That career level is permanently closed. The standing policy haunts my reputation. Everyone in HR knows about it. Run into Tom Bradley at HR conference. He was my HR manager who resigned first. He's now HR director at tech company, got promoted within year of leaving. We make awkward eye contact, haven't spoken since he resigned. He approaches, surprisingly cordial. How are you doing? Working as HR generalist, different company, smaller role. That's good. Generalist work has its rewards. Uncomfortable silence. Then I apologize. I'm sorry for the standing policy. It was wrong. I see that now. It was humiliating, treating people differently based on their gender. I thought I was creating inclusive environment. You were creating discriminatory environment, just with different target. He's direct, but not cruel. The standing policy made me feel like I was being punished for being male. Like my contributions didn't matter because of my gender. That's how women have felt in workplace for decades. Maybe, but creating that feeling for men doesn't fix anything. It just creates resentment and division. He's right. That's exactly what happened. Jake, Carlos, Daniel, and we left because we were discriminated against. Not because we opposed inclusion, but because we were treated unfairly. We all found good jobs elsewhere. We're all doing fine. But you destroyed your career and damaged the department. Every word is accurate. What did you think would happen when you made men stand for hours? Did you think we'd suddenly become better allies? Or did you just want to make us uncomfortable as punishment? I don't have a good answer to that. I think you wanted to punish men for historical gender discrimination by creating current discrimination that achieved nothing except driving us away. He walks away to join other conference attendees, successful HR director. I return to my hotel, no longer relevant in HR leadership circles. 3 years after termination, I'm 42, still making $56,000 as HR generalist. Lone Star Insurance is thriving. Robert Thompson promoted to VP of HR. Department he rebuilt has 15 people now, grown from the 8 I left behind. Mix of men and women, all treated fairly, no discriminatory policies. Employee satisfaction scores for HR services are at all-time high. The 4 men I drove away are all successful in their careers now. Tom is HR director. Jake is benefits manager. Carlos is recruiting lead. Daniel is HR manager. All progressed normally after leaving toxic environment I created. They succeeded because they were capable, not because of their gender. 4 years after termination, see LinkedIn update from Jennifer Park. She's still at Lone Star, now HR manager, promoted under Robert's leadership. Her post talks about importance of fair and professional HR practices. Great HR means treating all employees equitably and supporting their development. Implicit criticism of my approach, though she doesn't name me. Comments from former colleagues agreeing with her philosophy. Several mention how much department has improved under new leadership. One comment from Patricia Moore, the claims director who witnessed executive meetings. So refreshing to have HR leadership that focuses on professionalism over politics. She's talking about the contrast with my approach. 5 years after termination, I'm 43, still making $58,000 as HR generalist. Still living in Austin, still working in HR, but career has plateaued permanently. From $128,000 director to $58,000 generalist. Lost $70,000 in annual income. From leading department to processing paperwork, complete career collapse. All because I implemented standing policy that made men stand in meetings. Thought I was making symbolic statement about gender equity. Really just discriminating against male employees based on their sex. Created hostile environment that drove away 4 qualified professionals. Destroyed my department's functionality and my own reputation. That's what I live with now, at 43, at $58,000. Former HR director who implemented discriminatory policy. Lost her entire male staff within 4 months. Terminated after department performance collapsed. Now working entry-level HR at fraction of former salary. While the men I discriminated against have successful careers, and the department I led thrives without me. All because I thought creating discomfort for men would somehow create equity for women, when really it just created discrimination, legal liability, resignations, and career destruction. For everyone involved, especially myself. That's the expensive truth I learned too late. You can't build inclusion through exclusion. Can't create equity through discrimination. Can't fix historical wrongs with current wrongs. Only destroy trust, careers, and departments. That's what the standing policy accomplished. Nothing positive, just destruction. And I'm the one who suffered most. Because I implemented it. Against everyone's advice. And watched my career collapse. As a result of my own discrimination. Disguised as inclusive practice. That was really just punishment. Based on gender, not behavior. That's what cost me everything. My position, my salary, my reputation. My relevance in HR profession. All gone because I made men stand. While women sat in meetings. And called it equity. When it was just discrimination. In the opposite direction. With the same destructive results.